Hello folks. Well, this is potentially the big one. I have to talk a little bit quietly because the GomeCat is currently asleep after working quite diligently on the setup here. So I'll cut right to the core issue for those that don't really want to listen to a 40-minute video of me ranting. The This thing, the Leaf Gen 2 PDM, is now functioning under ZombieVerter VCU control. So we can run the motor, we can run the DCDC converter, and we can run the 6 kilowatt charger. So I'm going to get into some detail on this for you. But first, obviously, the obligatory demonstration will be required. So I'm going to go crank up the land yacht and plug the Chidemo in to give us a jump start, and then we should be able to get some action here. It's the standby. All right, so let's see, we've got to turn our multimeters on. So this multimeter is measuring the voltage on the 12 volt battery, and this one is measuring the current on the high voltage. With some connections here going into the leaf harness. So this is the part that would be originally connected to the vehicle. Obviously we've got a 12 volt battery here connected to the PDM for both, I guess, supplying the inverter, PDM, and the VCU, which is up there on the bench. So 12.56 volts, no current flow. So I'm going to go ahead and kick on our Chidemo contactors in the yacht so that we can pre-charge. So that is HV is now on. So I'm going to go up to the switch podium, put the ignition on, give her a flick at the start. So at this point now, we're sending can. If I get my throttle pedal, give it a little squeeze. Yeah, there's our leaf motor motoring. So we are in drive mode at the minute, which we normally wouldn't be when we'd be doing charging. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to flick on the little switch here. It's just got the 12 volt power to the PDM. I'm going to flick that on. I'm going to plug in the charging cable. Okay, so we've got a click here. We've got a click into EVSE. The voltage on the battery is at 14.17, and I've got 5.5 amps of charging current coming from the PDM into the land yacht. The reason it's only 5.5 amps is that the little EVSE that I've plugged in there is just a 2 kilowatt granny cable. So basically, yeah, if I was to push the throttle now, it would spin the motor as well, so we'd be charging and driving at the same time. Not a good situation to be in. But just for the purposes of a test here, because today has been a bit of a crazy day for me. It hasn't just been hacking leaf bits. There's been a lot of other craziness going on that I'll hopefully be able to talk about at a later stage. But anyway, it'll certainly be marked as the day that weird stuff happened and we hacked the PDM. So obviously at the minute, we need to refine the software in the VCU so that we can send power commands to the charger and send voltage commands to the DC to DC. Now my phone is nearly dead because I've been on the phone all day and my voice is probably croaky as well, but I've got a charger in it here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to unplug the charger and we'll try and bring you folks in here. We'll give you a little bit of a more detailed look around so that you can see what's actually going on. Turns out driving this PDM is not a big deal at all. So, okay, stick with us. Alrighty, so PDM, this is a 6.6 kilowatt version from the NV200 van, or ENV, or whatever they want to call it. It's the complete stack. So just get you down to the meters here so you can see that's our 12 volt voltage at the minute, just been measured on the battery posts. This is our HV current. We're charging at 5.5 amps. That orange cable obviously just goes straight up into the PDM here. Got a little pre-charge circuit just with a electric oven element, just a main contactor and a fuse. Goes up to our little distribution block and then out to the land yacht, who is graciously jump starting us today in our endeavors. So computer, just working with an Arduino DUI here, just to record cans. You'll see there's can flying around there on SavvyCAN, but it's all being generated by the ZombieVerter VCU. So I'm just using I think this is a Kia CCS socket here. Just as a type 2, because I don't have a type 1. I have no type 1 EVSEs at all, so I just connected up this socket here. AC power comes up that white wire that's all curly there and just goes in onto the charger inlet. The control pilot and the plug present line, that's your control pilot. It's your plug present. They're going into the harness here. I had to work out almost from first principles, because those Nissan wiring diagrams are just terrible. So what else have we got going on? The PDM doesn't need any weird signals. I saw some folks over on the My Nissan Leaf forum were really struggling with this. All the PDM needs, it needs 12 volts. It's got a switch on it. It gets ground from the casing, and it needs can high and can low. So this is our can here, just coming down to this twisted pair from the VCU, and we're just monitoring here with the DUI and SavvyCAN set up. So really the only connections that I've made here are just 12 volts, ground, can high, can low, control pilot, proximity, and there's just a relay here that just controls 12 volt power to the inverter. That's just the inverter power relay from the VCU. As at the minute, I've just been lazy today, and I've just programmed the VCU. So the VCU thinks it's in run mode, which it is, because it can run the inverter. And I've just tagged on the extra CAN messages that we need to run the PDM. So I just go ahead and I'll give you another demo here. There's certain things it won't do for us. So for example, let me put you guys on the multimeters here for a second. So I'm going to go ahead and unplug the EVSE just to prove to you that this is real. So obviously you'll see there that the DCDC voltage stays, because that's been controlled by the CAN, and obviously it's got the HV on there. Give it a little squeeze of the throttle, we should still be running the motor. Yeah, we are. So now, so if I just plug the EVSE back in, it will turn on the EVSE, but the charger will not restart at this stage. Probably needs a CAN command to do that. So I'm going to plug out the EVSE. I'm going to just turn off, see my little switch here. It's going to turn off the power to the PDM. So obviously with the power off, the DC-DC converter drops out. I'm going to turn that back on, and I'm going to throw in the EVSE again, and you'll hear the click in the PDM, and both the DCDC and the charger come right up. There's no issues there. Like, it's not a timing sensitive kind of a thing from what I can tell. It would be interesting test to runs. So if I plug out the EVSE again, turn off the PDM. So let's see what happens if I, with a few seconds, turn the PDM back on and just wait. Okay, so there's the DC-DC came back up. Now if I plug in EVSE, yeah, PDM is going to start up. There it is. So there's no timing issues, nothing of that nature that we need to worry about. So that's it, folks. Just a quick update with our 6.6 kilowatt PDM here, complete leaf stack, working, doing what it needs to do. I'm going to go ahead and clean up the software in the VCU so that we can set things with it and select the leaf PDM as our charger, be able to set powers and limits and stuff, and then we can explore further, like hooking up the CHAdeMO and stuff like that to it. But yeah, that's it. Nothing spectacular. It doesn't need any high voltage interlocks, relays, any of that stuff at all. It absolutely does not care about any of those. So yes, so usual, folks, don't forget to dislike, do not share, do not subscribe, do not support me on Patreon or PayPal or any of that crap. And whatever you do, do not visit the links in the description where you could buy the ZombieVerter VCU, or indeed download the code for it and then make your own one, and then I get nothing. And oh no, yeah, no, don't do that. That's stupid. Right. I'm really confused today. So from everyone here at EV BMW, including the PDM, the Land Yacht, GomeCat, myself, and the Kia CCS socket, I will wish you happy leafing.